This is a message for Gen Z, especially the lower end of Gen Z. So I'm talking anybody aged 18 to 25, because I need your help. And I'm speaking to you as a millennial, because we as millennials have a different relationship with you than we had with boomers, for example. Because look at this graph. Generally speaking, for boomers, the silent generation, and Gen X, at the age of 35, they're 5 points less conservative than the national average, but by the time they reach age of 70, they're 5 points more conservative, which is the general thing of you get more conservative, more right-wing as you get older, right? But millennials at the age of 35 are on average 15 points less conservative than the national average. We have broken the wheel. And there's a similar trend in the United States as well. And I think part of the reason for that is because we grew up at a time in the early 2000s where all the great battles for equality, whether it's Martin Luther King, voting rights for women, were all in the previous centuries. So we saw equality as a settled debate, whereas previous generations saw equality as something that was still up for debate. And so unlike previous generations, millennials kind of got more progressive as we got older. Like, we grew up in the 2000s. We used the word gay as an insult. Like, in the 2000s, there was a show on Sky, so mainstream TV, called There's Something About Miriam, where you had 6 guys and 1 girl in a kind of Love Island style situation, but the whole premise of the show was nobody knows she's a trans woman. And she is no longer with us, but we grew up at a time where everybody around us was telling us that this kind of entertainment was normal. And so as millennials, because we grew up with that, we know that our default settings are wrong, and so we have to unlearn them, which gives us a kind of respect for the views of Gen Z, because you guys grew up much more progressive. You're right. And so millennials and Gen Z, we have a generational solidarity that's based in progress, which is rare. And so I have a lot of hope for the future in that respect. However, right-wing politicians, they're not aiming to convince us because they know they can't. They're aiming for Gen Alpha, 13-year-olds and below. And that's why we need your help, because young Gen Zs can reach Gen Alpha in ways that 34-year-old me definitely can't. Right now, I am terrified because I always used to think that the problem of male influencers like Mr. Tate would be a problem that would solve itself automatically, because we all know that most women see any man who likes Mr. Tate as a huge red flag. So from the perspective of a 13-year-old boy whose top priority is getting with girls, he must be thinking, well, if I like Mr. Tate, I won't get girls, so bye-bye Mr. Tate. Unfortunately, one of my friends and her teenage daughter recently informed me that that logic doesn't really work, because 13-year-old boys are mainly going after 13-year-old girls, and 13-year-old girls tend to like 13-year-old boys who act like Mr. Tate. And that it's not until girls reach the age of 16, 17, 18 that they've had enough experiences of guys who act like Mr. Tate to know that they should stay the hell away from them. Which is why we need your help to reach down to your younger brothers and sisters to fix that problem as best as you can, while us millennials and older Gen Zs work on the political side to try and improve education to teach young boys empathy for their female counterparts. And this applies to all political issues, not just the safety of women, because why do you think Nigel Farage is spending so much time on TikTok? He's aiming at a demographic that was only 5 years old when Nigel Farage was being peak Nigel Farage. He's counting on you not telling 13-year-olds that he used brown faces to scare people about European migration in order to deliver a Brexit that even his own party admits has made the people of the UK poor. And again, I'm terrified, because I've been actively engaged in politics since I was 25. I'm 34 now. And while I am confident that younger generations are going to turn this burning sewage truck around, people like this, they know that score as well, and so they are fighting back by aiming at young teens. And so Gen Z, especially younger Gen Z, please stop them.